People deluded, I'm back again. Welcome back to another edition of the Deluded Podcast, the DG Podcast, the Really and Truly Podcast. Please make sure you're following across Apple, Spotify, and the rest of it. Obviously, while I do love doing the podcast with you lot, and I know I put it on YouTube, for those of you that get it first, it's actually not on YouTube. So some of you might not actually be aware that I'm a content creator on YouTube. So make sure you head over to Deludedgoon04, hit the sub button. Hope you're doing well and safe this morning, people. Welcome back to another edition of the podcast. As I said, I hope you're all doing well and safe. I hope you're in good spirits. It's Wednesday, so I hope you're all moving closer towards your goals, dreams, hopes, and aspirations. We're at the halfway point in the week. You still have enough time to have a good week, have a week of celebration come Friday. So, sorry, people. So for you, as you lot know, I do this very early in the morning. I can't lie, I don't think there's much to speak about. So let's address the elephant in the room. Let's speak about the Euros. Now, Spain versus Italy, Italy versus Spain. If you was there for my live stream, my live watch along, I called it. I said 1-1 penalties. And I think the game lived up to the hype. Obviously, it's what football's about. The ecstasy, the emotions. Look at what Spain went through, from going behind, to getting back in the game, to seeing, Italy actually missed the initial penalty. It had everything. Obviously, the first half was a bit toothless. Obviously, first 5 minutes were a very positive start, I felt, from the Italians. Then Spain, it was all Spain, really. They played good football. They stopped Italy getting out their own half. There was occasions that Italy shown that high line was going to get Spain in problems. And, Emerson on a couple of occasions went forward for Italy. But generally, it was a low-key affair. I think in the first half, there was one shot on target between the two teams. And I actually think it was the Italians. So, yeah, man, I think Spain played better than we thought. It was a good game of what I call chess, man. It was very congested at times. Then at times, it was using the wide areas. It became very open in the second half. Obviously, Morata, the ecstasy of coming off the bench and scoring and then missing a penalty is a madness. Dani Alma had a good game, but everyone's just going to remember the penalty you missed. Where Morata's concerned, the same said for him. Personally, I felt some players just never turned up. A couple of players look like they're not ready for this level. Pedri's amazing, and I'm tired, in a positive way, I'm tired of speaking out about Pedri. It's the worst kept secret. Oyarzabal's not cut out for this level. Eric Garcia, for me, struggled in particular. So, yeah, it was a good game, and it went to the Italians, and you could see, even when it went to penalties, you knew the Italians going to win. There was too much smiles. I'm not being naive. Of course, maybe Italy had their pre-planned penalty takers. Maybe they had the tactics board like Luis Enrique. But you could see Morata's face didn't look confident. You could see the Spaniards didn't look confident. There seemed a healthy arrogance with the Italians. And what I mean by that is they've prepared. They've probably prepared for this scenario twice over. They prepared for penalties. They prepared to not have possession. And, Spain's loss is Italy's gain. Italy deserved to be in the final, And I think what you saw yesterday as well, you saw two teams at two different, very different cycles. I think there's an imbalance in the Spain squad. A couple of players are probably too old to be relied on. Probably need to. I know there's a World Cup next year, but the likes of Alba, Azpilicueta, potentially Busquets, probably over relied on. Oyarzabal, Garcia, Dani Almo, based on the whole tournament, they're not quite ready for this sort of level. As you lot see, it's not even to do with ability. You need to be at a different level, and I think you see it with Rashford when he's come off the bench for England. He's looked woeful. Bruno Fernandes has struggled. The IQ has to be better. Oyarzabal should have defo scored a header, should have sorted out his first touch. There's an imbalance. You've got people like Pedri, you've got people like Garcia you can build around. Laporte isn't old, but there's an imbalance where you look at the Italians, they've got a couple of younger players, they've got a couple of people that are in their prime, they've got a couple of people that are moving beyond the hill. But everything came in. One Italian player I'd love to give credit to, because he's not going to get the headlines, is Chiellini, man, because he was on it defensively, in my opinion. Both teams had chances to wrap up the game, but it was a good game, really and truly, for the neutrals, and somebody had to win. And now Italy could look back, now being in the final. It's a terrific achievement for Mancini and his men, undefeated so far in the Euros, barely conceding any goals. Admittedly, the Italian wall's been broken the last couple of games now, but what did they expect? I just saw a different cycle there, man. Maybe on another day, Mancini might have got in trouble with them subs, because it seemed like he wrapped up the game too early and assumed that it was going to be a 1-1 affair. Both goals came in the second half, if you didn't know. Like I said, Spain did okay. That's probably, for me, Spain's best game of the tournament, because I think they struggled in their last two games to get through. They were quite lucky, really and truly. And this was coming, really and truly. Italy probably shouldn't have conceded that goal. To be fair, Italy could have probably had a couple of more, because as much as Spain were quote unquote dominating, there were occasions Italy sprung that high line. It was a very good game of chess, man, especially in the midfield. You know, Jorginho, forget the penalty, he had a good game. Like, you know, obviously the penalty is all that's going to get highlighted. Pedri had a good game. You know, for me, Chiellini did a madness, real captain's performance. Personally, I think Emerson did all right. He's not Spinazzola, but he did all right. Chiesa, the difference maker again, probably saved himself for being subbed up, you know, when he did score. Probably saved himself for being subbed. You know, Unai Simon, I don't know what he's on, man. You know, people that come on, there should never be a world where Unai Simon is Spain's first choice keeper. There should never be a world of Adama Traore is in the squad. There should never be a world. A lot of those players are in the, like, Spain really do look woeful. And I know Luis Enrique was bullish after the game, saying Spain have arrived. Let's be real, it was your best game, but you was tired, man. It was poor. Italy just looked the better team, really and truly. If I'm Italian, I'm thinking we should have wrapped that up ourselves, because first 5 minutes, I couldn't believe it. Aspilicueta, Garcia, Laporte, giving poor passes away. It just looked like the Italians had something different in them, and I thought they were gonna exploit that. Sorry, people, I don't know why my phone decided to play stuff for you there. I don't know what it's on, but yeah, man, it's a fantastic game, and I'm happy for Roberto Mancini. To be fair with you, he deserves it. You know, he deserves a bit of luck, and it's working all right for the Italians. Like, obviously, hope there isn't too much joy, because come Sunday, hopefully England are there and we do what needs to be done. If we can't do what needs to be done, then we're in problems, man. And you can't look past the Danish. Denmark deserve to be there. On merit, man. Is what it is. It's crazy. So yeah, man, it was a good game, and obviously where that's concerned, I think I've got a bit of statistics that I saw, and I DM'd them to myself yesterday. Morata is the first ever Spanish player to score for both club and country at Wembley Stadium. I'm sure he's not going to care about that. Also, where Morata is concerned, 6 goals means he has scored more goals at the European Championships than any other Spanish player. He's overtaken Fernando Torres, who was on 5. Spain have failed to progress from the semi-final of a major tournament, World Cup / Euros, for the first time in their history, having previously reached the final in each of their previous 5 semi-final appearances, people. Italy have now reached their 10th major tournament final, people. Only Germany have participated in more major tournament finals among the European nations. Shout out to Jorginho. Like I said, the penalty was an amazing penalty, but... And before I say it, this is where obviously club football doesn't always correlate, but I just think this is a healthy reminder of people need to understand football for what it's worth. You know, Jorginho is a better midfielder than Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is more of a goal scorer and them things there. They're 2 different types, really. But that's what I mean by low IQ. Bruno Fernandes has had games like he did for Portugal, for United, where he stunk up the place and scored. Jorginho's been sometimes Jorginho's form's been poor, but he's been criticised. And I think now, especially English Premier League fans, you can see what Jorginho brings to the table. You can see a lot of these players, what they bring to the table, quote unquote, and you can see a lot of low IQ players struggling. That's why they're getting rubbed out. Like I said, his penalty was amazing, but he made 8 interceptions versus Spain. That's a record for a player in a single match in the last 2 European Championships, people. You know, you don't have, if Kante that does that, everyone's waxing lyrical. And again, Pogba is another thing that helps. You get to see the levels at European competition, who really is a baller and who, you know, are you gassing up really and truly. So it was a fantastic performance, people, from them. So yeah, man, Spain are in the final. They'll rate Denmark versus England. We're going to get into that in a sec, people, but I wonder if you lot actually saw, you know, Colombia versus Argentina. I watched the highlights. I didn't watch the whole game, but I like the, pardon my language, the shithousery. You know, Martinez saved 3 penalties. It would be nice. You know, we've got a keeper that can't save one. To be fair, he saves Jorginho. Jorginho loves to miss against Arsenal. But yeah, man, you know, you saw Messi telling Yeremina, dance now. You know, Martinez, elite mind games. You know, Argentina are in a final against Brazil. It's going to be a good one where I don't want Neymar to lose. I don't want Messi to lose. So we're going to have to deal with that. So it is what it is, man. Shout out to Emi Martinez. He made 3 penalty saves, people. You know, after obviously it ended 1-1 in normal time. So yeah, but back to the Euros and whatnot. It's Denmark versus England. Like typical English fans, I've sat here and I've dreamed of, I thought I was guilty of thinking about Spain or Italy, which one I'd rather in the final, you know, but you can't look past Denmark. You look past them, you're going to get eaten up. You know, like the Germans were on against us, like the Croatians, the Danish want to do it. They see the English as arrogant. Not the players, but the society is arrogant. I can't lie, I think people misunderstand the it's coming home stuff. I don't think people understand it. It's a bit of a joke. We obviously want to win it, but they think we're arrogant and Denmark want to shut us up. It almost feels like the whole of Europe are cheering for Denmark and they want us to lose. They want us to bottle. So any complacency, although this is great and the semi-finals was the minimum, we can't rest on our laurels. There's a chance to achieve history. I haven't seen England win a trophy in my lifetime. I haven't definitely seen them go to a final. This is the chance. This is the chance for, you apply yourself for 90 minutes, you win, you get to the final and you apply yourself. This is the chance of eternal history. Your names will permanently be etched, whether you're Tyrone Mings or Raheem Sterling, your name will be etched in English history, And then you've set us up perfectly for the World Cup next year where we got to walk before we can run. Yeah, people can say it's been a Euros of surprise. I told you lots Italy would go far. Yeah, Spain, ultimately Spain, France, Portugal, bunch of Holland, all of them flattered to deceive and none of them quite progressed to the scale we did. But that's their fault, innit? England have taken advantage and it's here. One love to Denmark. I think it's now coming across as a bit condescending to keep mentioning Eriksen. Of course, one love to Eriksen for being healthy. Big up the people them for inviting him to the final, and apparently England are going to give him a signed shirt. And obviously they are doing it for Eriksen, and it is a bit of motivation. But I think it's condescending now, and it's a bit distasteful to everyone connected with Denmark and Eriksen to keep thinking that's the reason they're turning up. It's happened now on a positive way. The 29-year-old's life can continue. They're here because they want national pride. And I'm sure there's a bit of banter. Like, I'm sure Højbjerg and Kane, they've probably been in the Spurs WhatsApp group giving it. I'm sure Kasper Schmeichel, and although Jamie Vardy's not in the team, they've been giving it. It's one where Denmark can achieve history, and they deserve it, really and truly. They deserve it. So we can't rest on our laurels like Gareth Southgate has been preaching. We can't think of the final. We can't do any of that. You think of this 90 minutes. Fullbacks win your battles. Wingers win your battles. Defenders, midfielders win your individual battles. Everyone stand up to be counted. When everybody wakes up today, know that it's a serious thing you're dealing with. Like, you're not here on a joke thing. You're here to create history. Everything takes care of itself. Look at the Italians. Yeah, there was times they were out of possession. There was times it looked like it was going with Spain. For large periods of that game, Spain actually dominated. But they stuck to their task. They believed in themselves. You can see a nation that understands what they're doing before the tournament. And when you do that, everything falls into place. Obviously, I would have rather the Spanish than the Italians. I just think the Italians, if we get to the final, have too much for us. But hopefully there's a giant killing and things like that. Like I said, you can't look past Denmark. And, Kasper Schmeichel was in funny mood, people. And I know Kasper Schmeichel is Danish and a proud Danish man. But, he's as English as they come, in my opinion, excluding his Denmark heritage without sounding disrespectful. He was in playful mood, as he said, has it ever been home? I don't know. Have you ever won it? And then he said, when reminded about 1966, was that not the World Cup? To be honest, I haven't given any thought to what it would mean to stop England more than what it would do for Denmark. And that's it. And I think that's the language I'm not really keen of, It's almost about like Denmark's biggest achievement will be taking England out of it and a controversial moment where, let's be real, that's a whole nation's chance to go to a final. That's big enough in itself, Biggest game of many people's career. Many people in that Denmark team are not going to play at a higher level than this. Probably not. If Denmark go to the World Cup, I don't know if they've qualified. They're probably not going to go there. This is the biggest game in a lot of people's career. There's not too many times, if you look at Kasper Schmeichel, Delaney, Braithwaite, there's not too many times you're going to have another opportunity to be here. It's now or never. It's never or now. It's time for history. And again, I would like to win in normal time because I think penalties can be cruel, like you saw yesterday. Shout out to Pedri. Like I said, I'm specifically not speaking on Pedri because the man, the fact that man is 17, 18, it's not real. Someone needs to check his birth certificate. Different level. And I said it on my live stream. I'm going to say it again. God knows, I'm not going to say any other names, but I think by the time that guy is 28, 30, 35, he will be one of the best Spanish players to have ever played and one of the most decorated in his position. I think Pedri is messed. Pedri is messed. This guy was at Las Palmas 2 years ago. Now look at him. Bossing Champions League games against Juventus. Bossing it at this level. And he's only going to get better. In many aspects, he does show his age, but in many aspects, you wouldn't know his age. You couldn't get the ball off him in the telephone booth, people. You saw it yesterday. Literally only probably about 2 misplaced passes. The man's messed. Very good baller. And obviously, to go back to that Italian game, you know, that left-hand side for Italy was probably the stronger side. Left-hand side for Spain, right-hand side for Italy, where it was all coming from. I can't lie, Thiago stunk up the place with his little cameo. Great penalty, but he was atrocious when he came off the bench. Don't understand why he doesn't play more, but if he plays like that in training, I understand why Enrique don't play him. You know, Luis Enrique's made some very weird decisions at this Euros. But moving forward, people, like I said, to be honest, I've focused very little on the England national team. It doesn't really mean anything to me. It's what it would do for our people back home, the joy it would bring to a country of only 5.5 million to be able to do something like that or compete with the nations we're competing with. And that's true, people. When you look at it, Denmark's only major tournament success came in their extraordinary Euro 1992 triumph, when obviously Peter Schmeichel was there. And you look at it, you know, Kasper Schmeichel's a Premier League winner. His dad is, you know, I'm sure he wants to win the Euros. And, you know, I can't lie, man. If Denmark get to the final, cheeky tenner on them. You know, I back Italy to win whoever they play, but a cheeky 10 or 100 quid on the loser, really, because there might be, you know, since 2018, the world's been a bit mad and upsets have been happening across all sports and things like that. So, you know, the Danish are on this thing, you know, as they should. It's not about, obviously, it's about tactics and all those things, but to a degree, it's not. You know, Spain versus Italy, it was a tactical battle at times between Mancini and Enrique, but past the 50th minute or probably the 20 minutes into the first half, tactics went out the window. It's about who wanted it more. It's about national pride. It's about all them sort of things there. So it is what it is in that regards, people. We're going to have to see, man. Did I ever picture, well, I did think Italy could get to the final, but I definitely didn't think England or Denmark. So you would have obviously have sat here and said, you know, the many big nations that have gone out. But that's the beautiful thing about football, man. And I mean, this weekend, football should be set up perfectly. You've got, you know, two South American power heavyweights in Argentina and Brazil. Brazil versus Argentina in the Copa America final. And then you've got Italy versus whoever wins today out of Denmark and England. Good little bit of football. And it's quite sad the Euros is coming to an end, really. I've enjoyed it with you guys, people. Moving away from all of that, though, as I said, man, England to present Denmark with a signed shirt in support of Eriksen. It is what it is in that regards, people. That's a good gesture, I feel, from the from the country. In a bit of, like I said, there isn't much to talk about, people, but in a bit of sad circumstances, you know, Barcelona sponsors have been onto them. Apparently, Barcelona forwards Ousmane Dembele and Griezmann have apologised for a video released in 2019 in which they appeared to mock hotel staff in Japan, but denied their comments were racist. You know, and I think Japan, you know, there's a bit of controversy going on with the Olympics. You know, they're banning certain hairstyles, allegedly. They're banning Black Lives Matter and kneeling. You know, it does come across as anti-blackness. I can't lie to you, and silencing the Olympic people from having a voice. Yeah, they're Olympians, but they have a voice, and football mirrors society. So I think it can be described as potentially a bit mad. But anyways, people, you know, Dembele and Griezmann, it's absolutely shocking and disgraceful. No one deserves to be racially abused, whatever they've done. No one deserves to be mocked for the way they look. And it's atrocious. And for Griezmann in particular, this is not that, you know, Dembele, you're as bad as him, but, you know, blackface and now this, Griezmann, you're not looking good. It's not looking good right now. It's not looking good at all, my guy. But apparently the video recorded by Dembele during Barcelona's pre-season tour of Japan ahead of the 2019-20 season was leaked on social media and showed both players laughing at a group of hotel staff who were working to fix a television. It took place in Japan. It could have taken place anywhere on the planet, and I would have used the same expression, said Dembele on Instagram. I was therefore not targeting any community. I just happened to use this type of expression with my friends, regardless of their origin. I mean, you know, that's a bit of saving face. You know he's been an idiot, and you know the writing's on the wall. Just accept your L, say sorry, express extreme gratitude, and then it is what it is. It took place in Japan. It could have taken place anywhere on the planet, and I would have used the same expression. I was therefore not targeting any community. I just happened to use this type of expression with my friends, regardless of their origins, trying to save face. This video has since been made public. I appreciate, therefore, it could have hurt people present in these images. Because of this, I would like to sincerely apologise to them. Griezmann has said, despite doing blackface and this and probably a bunch of other incidences, you know, blissful ignorance is the best way I'd describe it. Griezmann said he was completely against all forms of discrimination. Stop discriminating against people then. What's going on? For the past few days, certain people have wanted to paint me as someone that I'm not. I mean, you painted yourself as it. I firmly refute the accusations made against me, and I'm sorry if I've offended any of my Japanese friends. If you have, well, you're being a twat. Like, come on, there's no place for this. And, you know, why when people are called out over racism or silly, ignorant comments, do they act shocked or act like, despite doing racist things, everyone's in no position to call you that. You shouldn't have done it, and if it never got leaked and whatnot, no one would know. So you're not happy. You're not, trying to learn from your mistakes. Just accept your L, shut up, stop discriminating against people, donate to a Japanese cause or something, a charity helping people in Japan. That would show you're sorry, and move on. And you could hear Barcelona sponsors, they're rightly so pissed off about this. So again, Barcelona, where we all know they're broke, they can't even announce the signings formally, or better yet, register Eric Garcia, Depay, and all these guys because they're broke. And I'm sure they don't. If you're broke, you don't want to lose more peas, so you're messing about for them. Really and truly. Away from that though, people, we've heard a lot in relation. I ain't got the article to hand, but you've heard there's been a COVID outbreak via the Telegraph at one football club, which is bound to disrupt pre-season as a lot of people are returning. Apparently, the Premier League will continue exploring the possibility of a COVID certification to gain entry to stadiums next season, even though the government has no immediate plans to make them mandatory. Certification providing proof of full vaccination, a recent negative test, or immunity via the NHS app is being trialled at events such as Wimbledon and Euro 2020, which are part of the government's ongoing events research program. I think it's a bit inhumane. It's a bit of tracking people. I am not doing that. If that means I can't go and see Arsenal again, I'm not doing that. It makes me feel uncomfortable with this government. Again, they're probably just gathering your data for other pretenses. This is a government and Boris Johnson who, we've already known it, but things have become leaked. They've not tried to help anyone with COVID. They've tried to actively make people catch it. They've tried their best to make, across many different incidences, even with this track and trace thing, how much money's been swindled, I would say in future years, people will be made to pay for their sins. But again, Glenfell is still looking for justice. These people have no morals. They have no moral compass. They're the devil, really. I can't lie to you, absolutely the devil. But that's where that's concerned, people. Is there anything else to talk about? The most interesting thing I saw is Danny Ings wants to leave Southampton. Now, apparently they want Adam Armstrong from Blackburn, which would be a good signing for them. I think prior to Ivan Toney obviously getting promoted, he's one that's gone away from Newcastle, learned his trade a bit. I've done videos on him. I think it's time to try the Premier League, really and truly. But I can't begrudge Danny Ings. Apparently he's rejected an offer that would make him Southampton's highest paid player. At 29, I'm sure if he was offered the chance to go back to Liverpool, he would. He wants to try a big team. He was linked with, it's not a big team, but he was linked with Spurs. United wanted him. He was aggressively linked with City, and that might be an option. I don't know where he'd go, man. I don't know if the top teams, he's got a year left, so Southampton are going to have to show some willingness or lose him on a free. I don't know if people want to go from a year from now, which suddenly they probably will, because obviously, as you lot know, it's that age-old thing. Whether that's going to be Pogba, Ings, Mbappe, when you got a year left on your deal, even Willian at Chelsea, you start seeing people play out of their skin. So it could be an interesting one. I'd take Ings at Arsenal, really and truly, but it don't really make sense. I do want someone a bit younger. Ings owes Southampton nothing. Southampton could feel a bit of way, because Ings' stock was a bit on the floor at Liverpool. He went on loan at Southampton. He's rebuilt himself, but, you bought him because you saw something in him and his ability. He owes them nothing. Apologies, he's 28. So I can't begrudge him, It's a chance to play for a bigger club, play in Europe potentially. Obviously, he was rejected an offer that could make him the highest paid player at Southampton, but their offer to make him the highest paid, let's just say at United, that might just be something that the little man are on. The guys that have signed their first pro deal, obviously I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. So there is a money aspect to it, and I can't begrudge him for that. It's a short career. Whether who goes for him or not, maybe the COVID market gone against him. Chelsea need a striker. Can you really go from Lukaku, Haaland to Ings? I'm not trying to criticise Ings. Can Ings be the guy? I think Ings would score a lot of goals. I think Ings is one of those players. He play better in a better team with respect to Southampton. For what it's worth, though, people, there's been lengthy discussions to extend his term past 2022, and apparently there was optimism. Apparently they presented him with a fresh 4-year deal. This is Southampton to Ings, that would have made him the best placed player in their history. But the former Liverpool attacker is understood to have rejected it as he targets another chance to join a team competing towards the top of the table. I mean, I can't lie, Southampton for Spurs, it is a step up, but I'd rather go Leicester, where I don't think Leicester are going for him. If Spurs are in for, it could be a merry-go-round. Kane leaves, you could go in. We've spoken about City. Ironically, I can't lie, I don't think he gets into Liverpool's starting 11, but he's a better striker than Origi. So, again, a return to Anfield, could that be it? If Lacazette leaves and we can't get anyone else, I mean, I don't know why you join Arsenal, but like Spurs, but I'll take him. And who knows? He might even try the abroad thing. Who knows, people? But he's been presented with a 4-year deal and said no to it, people. Simply put. So we'll have to see what happens in that regard. Sorry, people, but I want to go back to Gareth Southgate. Apparently, Gareth Southgate has said England's major tournament record is often overstated as he aims to lead them to their first final since victory at the 1966 World Cup. I mean, it can't be overstated. When last did we win a thing? It is what it is, people. Let me see what he said. We don't have as good as football history as we'd like to believe sometimes. I mean, we don't have a good footballing pedigree. We've got years of making the wrong decisions, bottling finals, bottling penalties, talking about this squad can't play together because of this. Don't get it twisted. I'm very fond of Southgate, and regardless of what happens, I'd like to actually issue an apology to Southgate. If he wins, I'll do a dedicated video on it because I still don't believe in you, but I didn't believe in you in this tournament. At the end of the day, you're in the semis. You said the semi-finals is the minimum. You've got the semi-finals. Still bewildered with a lot of tactical decisions you make and... Sorry, people, I dropped something. And stuff you do. But who am I to criticise it? Because it's working. I can't lie to you lot. On another... You cherry-picked the German game. It was an individual bits of brilliance from our players and players in particular. The same, obviously, the same goes for the last game, really and truly, against the Ukraine. Well, Ukraine was a bit different because they didn't really look on it from the start. But we haven't played amazing. We haven't even played to the level of Spain or Italy and eat of that game yesterday, if I'm completely honest. We've just scumbagged it in patches. On another day, the German game, the Croatian game, the Scottish game, every game we played could have been different. We haven't had that perfect performance yet, quite like the others, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, I'd give credit to Southgate. Again, you've got to get your tactics spot on. Again, it's nothing. Tactics and that goes out the window. We'll have to see. Apparently, these players are making massive strides and breaking barriers all the time. We have broken barriers in this tournament, and we have another opportunity to do that. We have never been to a European Championship final, so we can be the first, which is really exciting for everyone. Facts, people, and obviously. If you look at it, we've had a favourable cup thingy, man. When was the only game? I swear we've only played like 2 games max away from Wembley. Something tells me the Scottish game. In fact, I might be lying, 'cause I'm sure that's at Wembley. We've definitely played 1 game in Rome, but the majority has been at Wembley. We're at Wembley tonight. We're at Wembley in the final, provided we get there. These things can make the difference. It's very interesting in that. But yeah, man, it's a chance to make history. And either way, like I was saying, big up Southgate because it's something to build upon for the World Cup. Still don't think you should get a new deal. Still not convinced with your tactics. But credit where due. Even though I can nitpick and say, why didn't Grealish start? Why didn't this happen? Why didn't that happen? Why mount in the 10 and not play him next to Calvin Phillips and drop Rice? These things, it's working. So until it's not working, I can't say anything, people. So there's a chance of history for both teams. There's a chance of legacy for both teams. There's a couple English players that might not be around next time. There's a couple of young players that, you're going to play at a number of Euros. You look at Mason Mount. You've had a great year. You've won Champions League. Can you get a Euro? Saka. It's been a roller coaster 2 years, really. You've gone from playing under 18s to playing for England and winning an FA Cup. Can you win the Euros? Harry Kane. Can you get that fetish for trophies, that taste of trophies where you can't get at your North London club? If you want to sign for a North London club, Harry Kane, sign for Wrongans, because obviously I won the league, I can help you. Spurs can't do that. But you get the point. There's a chance of legacy. Some of you might not even go to the World Cup next year, so this might be a last chance of silverware, And again, for me, I think there's good building blocks. I love the togetherness. I like how these players play together. I personally think in a day and age of especially in Europe, there's a lot of far-right stuff. The government is blaming a lot of problems on foreigners when they're stealing from their fellow countrymen. Obviously, there's a lot of damn right racism. And it's appalling, and I think the Euros has shown there's some good examples. Listen, I hate the whole, you've got to be a footballer or you've got to be someone to show that, you're a good person. I hate that. The notion that somebody has to be a footballer or someone in the public eye or doing something quote unquote exceptional to be treated equally is appalling. But it's a fantastic example, The winning penalty was scored by a Brazilian for Italy, France have gone out, but look at it, a Jamaican-born man is the top goal scorer for England. You get it. There's many different examples. You look at the Danish squad. How many guys are not there? There's many different examples as well. There's many positive examples. And, if only we should celebrate the differences. You know, I don't believe in color blindness, especially as a young black boy, you know, who's proud of my Bayesian, about to say Barbadian, I don't like that term, of my Bayesian and Jamaican heritage. I'm very proud of it. So when people say they don't see color in things, that's an insult to me. I'm sure it's an insult to people of Asian heritage and people of other things. That's you know, we're not colorless. We're none of that, you know. But what we should be able to do as a society is, if there's an English man, a Jamaican man, a Ghanaian man, an Indian man, a Pakistani man, a South American man, I'm trying to cover every region, Serbian man, we can see we're all different, celebrate that we're all different in many ways, celebrate diversity, but fundamentally remember, you cut us open, we all bleed red, you know, we're all human. It doesn't matter where you're from. You judge a man or a woman or whatever on their principles and how they carry themselves and how they treat others, not prejudices, you know. But I listen, racism's never going to end, because it's it's ingrained in humans to want to be better than everybody, and that's what annoys me, you know. Celebrate differences. You know, celebrate diversity. But it is where it is, people. You know, obviously, one thing I hate more than... I'm not, that's a lie. I don't hate it more than racism, but I hate it. One thing I hate as much as racism is online trolling and people doing sneaky things and moving mad. Now, as you lot have seen, a man in Singapore, Singaporean, has been handed a 9-month probation order for sending death threats to Premier League footballer Neil Maupay. You know, Derek NG Diren, 19, sent the messages after, obviously, Brighton beat Arsenal. He was arrested this year after messages were traced back to Singapore. Apparently, under the order, he'll avoid prison but serve 40 hours of community service and undergo counselling, people. He'll also be required to obey a nightly curfew between 10 and 6 p.m. His mother has posted £2,689 in bail, people, to meet his conditions. So again, you've cost your mother a lot of peas, you know. Use your internet. You see what happens when these neeks are not using their internet to go on Pornhub and that. They're using it to troll people. And, you know, it is what it is. It's sad to say, but I genuinely think we're going to see something where someone's going to track down a troll, and I don't mind them. I listen, if trolls talk, listen, the way I've grown up in life, you don't talk nonsense. You don't say something online, or you don't say something to someone you're not going to say in their face. So I'm like Vardy says, chat shit, get banged. I've got no sympathy if people get punched up for racism and trolling and moving mad online. But equally, I'm scared, because it's costing the people who will be abused, it's costing their mental health, and it's not going to end well, you know. One of these trolls is going to get tracked down and killed one day. Honest to God, I don't want to put a downer on this, but that's how it's going to get, because it might be seen as banter or whatever, but you know, you're harassing someone, and you know, it's a matter of time before someone tracks down an IP address and finds you, and it ends in a sad story. You know, you would think many people, you know, I don't like the internet in it, because I think with my DG Nation, big up to everyone and stuff, there's many examples of it being used for positivity, but I just think too many people project. I just think too many people are sad with their life, you know, and they just go and troll and abuse and just look to water down people's happiness and get at their looks. And, you know, it's like with social media. Anytime someone posts something positive, people start hating, you know. I saw some lady, she got a car, you know, first car, as you'd expect, a modest car. That's a good achievement. People are belittling it. You know, you see, people are just bad vibes online, you know. And this is why I always say you shouldn't let anyone belittle your achievements. Like for me, I remember someone was like, oh, you only got 30,000 subscribers. I was like, cool, you can say what you want, innit? I ain't seen your YouTube channel, so not that I do this, you got more than me, I got more than you ting, but you ain't done that. And for me, no one can take that away from me. That might not be an achievement to many people. That might be a little man thing to anyone. But for me, that's the greatest thing ever, because there's not been too many things I've been proud of in my life, and no one can take that away from me. And I wish everyone can do that, because I just feel the internet is mad. That's why I try and keep it at arm's length, man. There's just no need, man. There's just no need to be twats. Like, why can't people just be nice people, man? Like, it's not hard. Like, it's not hard to just be nice. You know, use the internet for motivational purposes rather than hate. When I see someone that's doing something good, I look at it as, yeah, man can do that as well. Or, you know, I can do something like that. I don't look to it to belittle people. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy, man. But to wrap this up, like I said, they ain't got nothing else to talk about, people, but there's a little bit of a time filler. Let's see what the BBC News column is saying in relation to transfers, people. Allegedly, Gareth Bale, 31, may retire from club football once his $600,000 a week deal with Real Madrid ends. People, I'm sorry for mispronouncing that, but my word, that was a Mazzolini, wasn't it? Absolute Mazza. Imagine 600 bags a week. Is that including everything, sponsors and that? No way that's a base salary. No way. Maybe that's a spelling mistake from the mail here, but it is what it is. Apparently, Crystal Palace have opened talks to bring Manchester City forward Morgan Rogers to Crystal Palace. He had a loan spell in League One last year. He's quite a decent player, people. Really, I wanted him when he was at West Bromwich Albion. I don't know if he'll step straight into the first team, but I can probably imagine his first team chances would probably be a lot better at Crystal Palace than Manchester City. And apparently, Mikel Elise, I haven't seen official confirmation, but he's joining Crystal Palace from Reading. So there's some interesting signings and developments happening, people. So we'll have to see what happens. Apparently, Calvin Phillips, 25 years of age, is happy at Leeds and has no desire to leave. We'll test that resolve in a bit. Aston Villa are still on the case with Smith Rowe. Check out my YouTube content, and by the time this comes out, I'll be live at 11:30 a.m. So I'd like to see you all there. Also, apparently Chelsea and Arsenal are monitoring Bayern Leverkusen and Burkina Faso international Edmund Tapsola. We'll have to see what happens there. Brighton are still negotiating with Arsenal over Ben White. Apparently Southampton are confident of securing Manchester United defender Brendan Williams on loan for the forthcoming season. Burnley have shown interest in free agent Wayne Hennessy. Chelsea also want him in Villa. Barcelona will offer Chelsea the chance to sign Antoine Griezmann. Boy, they need money, innit? Manchester United and Arsenal are looking to make a move for Barcelona centre-back Umtiti. Where have we heard that? Apparently Arsenal are still looking at our people, which I want. Yeah, man. Tottenham have stepped up their interest in the 31-year-old Bosnian international and former Juventus player Pjanic, who I want at Arsenal, people. But in relation to the transfer gossip, that's that, man. And I think that takes us just over the half an hour mark, people. Like I said, it's a bit dry. Like, I'm quite concerned for my DG podcast. There's not really too much news developing in the footballing world, but we spoke about transfers. We spoke sadly about the racism incident. We touched on the Premier League with COVID allegedly. We obviously spoke about the Euros. We reviewed the game that happened last night between Italy and Spain and Italy, and you've got England, Denmark, England now. On that brings an end to this, people, but the DG content never ever stops, people. As I said, please make sure you're checking out my live streams at 11:30 a.m. I'm going to be doing another watch along for England versus Denmark, which I'll be live on my YouTube channel from 7:30 p.m. Wednesday. If you don't know what day I'm referring to, if you didn't, there'd be problems. Please make sure you're following me across all my socials. Links are in the description. DeludedGooner04, Twitch DeludedGooner187, and more importantly than that, stay safe. Like I said at the start, it's Wednesday. It's the halfway point in the week. Let's all have a good week to remember where we've accomplished our goals, hopes, dreams, and aspirations, or at least moved closer than we was last week. More importantly than that, please stay safe. I'm wishing you all good health and them sort of things there, and I'd like to extend that to your family and loved ones. Hope to see you lot tune in again. But for now, people, it's been a fantastic podcast. I'm out, and thank you very much.